In the shadow of the fabled Arlington National Cemetery lies a resting place that is often overlooked, yet just as powerful, Alexandria National Cemetery. Opened in 1862 and one of America's first national cemeteries, it is a quiet, peaceful place with deep roots in the Civil War. Join me as we honor its permanent residents and find sanctuary in its tranquility. We will visit a memorial to and graves of victims of the hunt for John Wilkes Booth, United States colored troops, and many others who honorably served our country as we discover more about them. We will also learn about the surrounding area visible from the cemetery, which includes a landmark that honors our first president and one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world at the same time. The gates are open. Let's step inside. Hey guys, welcome back to Vigoroso, DC. And right now I am at ANC in Northern Virginia, and you can see the white headstones behind me. So you may assume I'm talking about Arlington National Cemetery, but I'm actually not there. I am in Alexandria National Cemetery, which is about a 20-minute drive from Arlington. Now, Arlington, of course, is super famous. There's so much stuff going on there. And this one is not. This one is much quieter. And I will show you a little look around here. It is not only very quiet, but it is also very small. This is the whole cemetery that I'm showing you here. So Arlington National Cemetery has about 400,000 people interred there and is about 600 acres, whereas this one is 5.5 acres and only has about 4,500 people here. So it is much smaller, much quieter. And also at Arlington National Cemetery, there's all this security you need to go through first. Here, you just walk in and there's not even any people around to even like say hi to you. You just walk in. There is a building there, which is a visitor center / headquarters, but it looks like it's pretty closed up. There's nothing going on there. And the hours here are sunrise to sunset. Those are the hours, whereas Arlington has very specific hours. They are 8 to 5 every single day. Some big differences, but certain things are not different, as you can see behind me. It is a national cemetery, so this is where our war heroes are buried and soldiers and military personnel. And this is small, but there is some interesting things here. And there's something very interesting in particular that I want to show you right now. So you can see a memorial directly in front of me, and there are graves to the left and right. These are all Civil War graves. This cemetery was established in 1862, and a large amount of burials here is from the Civil War. And in particular, this memorial is very historic. And I will show you what it says here. In memory of Peter Carroll, Samuel N. Gosnell, George W. Huntington, Christopher Farley, who lost their lives April 24th, 1865, while in pursuit of Booth, the assassin of our beloved President Abraham Lincoln. So, as I'm sure you know, there was a whole manhunt for John Wilkes Booth after he assassinated the president. And these 4 over here, 2 on each side. Here is Peter Carroll, April 24th, 1865. George W. Huntington, April 24th, 1865. Christian Farley, April 24th, 1865. Samuel N. Goswell, April 24th, 1865. So the whole manhunt for John Wilkes Booth, they lost their lives. They were from this area, and they are buried directly in front of us. And there is the POW MIA flag, which flies at every national cemetery. There are about 150 national cemeteries across the United States. Some are pretty large. So Arlington National Cemetery is huge. When you go in there, you see just how big it is. But there's one out in California that's twice as big. And then the smallest one only has 22 people in it, and that's in Southern Virginia. And this one here is clearly one of the smaller ones. And if you looked up this cemetery on Google Maps, it looks as if it is a pretty large cemetery that takes up a lot of space. But that is misleading, because if you see behind this wall here, there's still cemetery back there, but it's actually a completely different cemetery. So there is a whole conglomerate of small historic cemeteries right here. They're all right next to each other. And I will just walk over there. So this wall is the end of Alexandria National Cemetery, but directly over the wall, this is a different cemetery. And as you can see, it is very, very old. You see how old these graves are. And over there, that is another cemetery, and there's just a whole cluster of them. They're just all back to back, right next to each other, and it just kind of appears like it's one big cemetery, but it's not. And you can see the difference. So right here to the left, the National Cemetery, and to the right, the really old historic cemetery. The way this cemetery looks, it's straight out of like a Halloween movie. And I will film this at a future time because I really love old cemeteries. But something else I want to show you, since we're standing right here, in the center of the frame, you can see this tower popping out. And this is the George Washington Masonic Memorial. So George Washington was a Mason, and Alexandria, although he lived in Mount Vernon, Alexandria is where he came to do all of his business, where he came to meet his friends, where he came to get away from Martha for a while, where he went to church. And this was his Masonic lodge. Of course, it didn't look like that. It was a regular building of the time, which is gone now, and this was built in its place. And this is actually built to look like the lighthouse of Alexandria, Egypt. That was one of the 7 wonders of the world. It was destroyed by earthquakes. But if you look at artistic renderings of the lighthouse, it more or less looked like that. So they've tied in this link with Alexandria, Virginia, which is not named after Alexandria, Egypt. It's named after a person from this area, but they made that link back to Alexandria, Egypt.